Hey, y'all. I'm Rob,
And I'm Erica.
and you're listening to Pumpkin Spice.
And Nothing Nice podcast.
You're watching episode 10 in Appalachia a Day.
Trigger warning. Topics discussed in this episode may not be suitable for all listeners. Okay, hi.
What's up?
Oh, nothing. Actually, so much, but we're surviving. We're doing well. My
We are
glasses are
both in different
filled.
locations. We both are in different locations today.
We are. We are. You are in your kitchen.
Yes, the
I am in my new
laboratory.
kitchen.
Love that.
Uh, It's much cleaner. It's much brighter. It's just better. I mean, it's kind of a mess right now, but that's okay. Y'all can't
Well,
see
you're
it.
packing and moving and whatnot. So, for those of you watching, our friend Erica just moved into a new apartment. Love that
Yes.
for her.
Yes. And once we're done with the old apartment and cleaned and everything thing is empty, I will be astronomically less stressed, but I've already made such significant changes in my emotional state and it's been good. It's been good. I made cookies the
That is
other
what's
day.
up.
So, if anybody that's listening might have depression, know that you're not alone and that shit's real. Shit's real. And it's okay. If the best you can do is get out of bed that day, if the best you can do is wake up that day, then okay, that's the best.
Proud of you.
So, today we are talking about apples and Appalachia.
Apple.
So,
Yes.
um, the name of the episode is a play on how to pronounce Appalachia appropriately, accurately.
Right.
I know
It is
that a
not,
lot of
not
people say,
Appalachia. It's
yeah,
Appalachia.
Appalachia. Now, if you do say it like that, it's incorrect. The proper way to say it is Appalachia.
Mhm.
And in case you didn't know, Nevada, the state is Nevada. It's not Nevada. Don't be dignified when you say it. It's Nevada.
Well, it's like
Like you have to make
Colorado
right
and
in your mouth.
Colorado. It's Colorado.
What? I'm sorry. Say
Yeah,
that again.
when I lived in Colorado, I was accosted because I pronounced it thusly, and apparently the correct pronunciation of Colorado is Colorado.
No, it's not.
The O's magically
Cal-
became A's.
Colorado.
Colorado. Or I don't know.
I'm gonna have to pray
I'm
for them.
I'm from Kentucky. You're not right for
I'm
this.
gonna, I'm gonna have to pray for them. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, anyhoozle. So you are handling the apples today, and
Yes,
I'm handling the Appalachia of our talk.
right.
However,
So
you
I'm
have
currently
information that
peeling. Yes, I'm currently peeling the apples for our Appalachia talk as we
what
speak
apples
right
are you
now.
using?
These are I don't remember what kind they are. We got them from a local orchard near where I live in Ohio.
Oh,
So these are organic, fresh from the orchard, just no fuss apples. You know what I mean?
what are your favorite
Um,
apples?
I like Macintosh a lot and Red Delicious a lot. But to be honest, I'm a pear guy. I prefer pears over apples.
Yeah, I like pears
Um,
too.
I, yeah, but apples have a really cool history, and they have a really cool metaphysical type idea. And by the way, I'm using a left-handed peeler, and I'm failing miserably at it. It's driving me crazy.
Is that one of your cousins left-handed?
None of us are left. Well, one of them might be. The ones I live with aren't.
Why do you have a
But
left-handed peeler then?
or I don't ask questions.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, so as I was saying, apples do have a pretty cool history, and I figured I would go into a little bit of like the history and like some fun facts about some apples, maybe even talk about apple pie spice a little bit while I'm making a free form apple pie. while we sit here and have a conversation about Appalachia and
Hmm.
apples.
Yeah, because
So,
we're in the middle season. We're after the pumpkin spice and before the peppermint of December. This is usually about the apple time, right?
it is. It is. Apples are typically ready and ripe right around the harvest, which in our part of the country, well, my part of the country, we live in two different parts of the country, just ended. The harvest just ended. It is now starting to get too cold for things to grow
Hmm.
and for the harvest to continue. So for us in this part of the country, our harvest season is over.
Okay.
Um, it is currently, it might be 50 degrees, maybe 50 degrees outside right now. And that's pretty warm considering it was in the 30s the day before yesterday.
Yeah, I think down here it's like 70 something today.
Yeah, so that's positively frigid for you.
It was really cold a couple days ago. Like it was in the 30s, 40s, and I was like, I'm sorry, I ever said that I wanted something like this. I lied. I was not of my right mind when I said that.
See,
I
I'm
apologize.
living my very best life. We don't have the heat on. It's about 60 degrees in the house. I'm wearing a hoodie just because the shirt I have on today is not friendly for a white audience. But it's great. It's great. But anyway, let's get on topic. Apples have a very varied mythical history, and they've got a really cool origin story. Um, so there are mythos in just about every major group of people in the world. The Greeks, the Arabians, the Celts, all of them have apple mythos. Um, to Eris, the Greek goddess of discord, famously threw a golden apple inscribed with the words "to the fairest" among the goddesses, which is said to have led to the Trojan War.
Oh,
The ancient Celt god of nature, fertility, and prosperity, Cernunnos, we just call him Kearney, was often shown with a cornucopia and apples symbolizing the power of the natural world.
hmm.
In Norse mythology, apples were believed to provide immortality and were guarded by the goddess Idun. I hope I
What was
said that
that?
right.
What was her name?
Idun, Idun.
Hmm. Okay.
The Arabian Nights featured a magical apple from Samarkand, capable of curing all human diseases. An apple a day keeps the doctor away,
Well, we're gonna need that apple to come back.
right? But one place that never really specifies an apple in its mythos is the Bible in the Garden of Eden story. The Bible references the fruit of knowledge, but it never
Hmm.
actually specifies that it's an apple. Um, but
Huh.
it was the knowledge of good and evil, right? What we were talking
Yep.
about. Um, it could have been an apricot. It could have been bananas, figs, lemons, grapefruits. Even pomegranates have been argued to have been the fruit in the Garden of Eden.
Do you know when you started to say that, I wanted to feel pomegranate
Yeah,
because
it would make sense,
pomegranates also used in the explanation of winter.
right? And in the descent of hell in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, so it actually wasn't until the 12th century that the idea of the apple being the fruit of knowledge was introduced because the word in Latin for apple is malus, and the word malos also means evil.
Doesn't mal mean bad?
It
MAL?
does in Spanish and in
Mm.
a lot of Latin-based languages, mal is a derivative of the word bad, yes, because Latin malus means evil.
Hmm.
So it would make sense, right?
Right?
Robert Frost, Emily Dickinson, Christina Rossetti, and Dylan Thomas all wrote poems about apples. Caravaggio, Marguerite, and Titan painted them. The most famous forbidden fruit depiction, The Temptation and Fall, painted by Michelangelo on the
Hmm.
of the Sistine Chapel, features forbidden figs. However, by the time Milton wrote Paradise Lost in the 17th century, the forbidden fruit was firmly and definitely an apple. probably because based in the 12th century ideology that Malus meant evil and so it meant apple. So we have come full circle with apple becoming the fruit of knowledge in the Garden of Eden.
Well, okay.
Right. And apple even represented kind of like a eureka moment in more modern history. You might have heard of
Gravity.
Mr. Isaac Newton.
Yeah.
Yeah. And apple falling kind of gave Isaac Newton the theory of, his theory on gravity back in the 1660s, 1666, I think. Um, and then apple fell and hit someone in the head and poof, he can prove gravity. Apples are a member of the rose family. I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're related to roses, which is
That's
fun.
sort of beautiful.
Uh-huh. In fact, the origin story goes to the mountains of Kazakhstan. So the apples we eat today are actually the great 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 grandchild of the original apples from the Middle East.
Wow.
Isn't that fun? I'm sorry, I'm trying to talk and cut at the same time.
That's okay. I'm a little bit stressed out, so I'm not looking at you in case your chefness disappears for a second and like you miscut.
No, you're good. Um, Apples are genetically creative, by the way. I'm not sure if you know this about apples either. A characteristic botanists have given apples is called extreme heterozygosity.
Mhm.
Do you know what heterozygosity means?
No.
No? Okay. Heterozygosity means that each apple seed will be different from its parents. While that's great for evolution, it's terrible for growing apples for market. So the only way um, to get the same result by growing apples is to graft them. So you want to basically just keep using the same tree over and over and over again in order to get the same apples because each seed will be different from its parents.
That
I
is
see that look of like sheer perplexity on your face.
such big information for my small little brain.
Right.
So
Um,
go
yep.
ahead. Just go ahead.
No, you're good. What was your question? What was your question?
So okay. Does that fall as being a GMO?
Well, that would be you modifying the genetics of an
Oh, okay.
organism. So I'm not quite sure if that would fall under GMO. But I mean, apples aren't the only plant that gets grafted. I mean, they
Right.
had to graft grapevines during the Noble Rot era because the root system of European um, grapevines were not as strong as the American grape varietals, and we had to graft root systems on those plants so that they would have more of a success in battling noble rot and other bugs and pests and whatnot. So grafting is something that happens all the time. In fact, if you go to like a garden store today and
Mm-hmm.
you buy a three type apple tree, that apple tree is in existence purely because it was grafted together based on three different trees.
That's that is so advanced. That's such advanced thinking.
Oh yeah,
And
and you can
it's
graft
so
simple
much,
stuff at home.
yeah, and it's so much that plants are alive. Like it's proof of plants being living things in such a way that like it is able to do that. It is able to have its parts moved and attached, and that's so much big science.
It is. It's absolutely. It is definitely big science. Um, Something else that's fun about apples is that the first human cultivation was around 6500 BC. So we've been cultivating apples for almost 8,000 years. By the
Oh my
17th century, apples
God.
were on. Yeah. The 17th century, apples began their way to North America with the colonists, and by the 1800s, apple orchards were thriving. So the Americas didn't even really have apples up until the 1600s.
Hmm.
How crazy is that?
That is pretty crazy.
Um, American folk hero Johnny Appleseed wasn't so linear about his apples. He collected apple seeds by the bushel from Pennsylvania cider mills and then ferried them west, establishing orchards along the way and distributing seedlings to settlers far and wide. These were not so much the greatest apples. Many of them were inedible. So they found their way into cider and apple brandies. Um, but along with the apples moving west, so did the love of things like apple pie and apple butter and all apple sauce and all things wonderful. But then again, Johnny Appleseed didn't just spread apples, now did he? No, no, no,
You know,
no.
I don't know much about him.
He was
I
also
don't know
an
his lore.
evangelist. He spread the word of God as he
Oh,
went down the Appalachian Trail, and
it's kind of interesting that he would talk about God and at the same time be planting apples,
uh,
since apples were apparently a naughty thing.
right, right. Um, but let's talk about some like metaphysics and some benefits of apples too, because you know I'm witchy and I
Okay.
like to get into the spiritual aspect of things. Um,
Hmm.
and so apples are a good source of fiber, vitamin C, and antioxidants. Studies
Hmm.
suggest that apples may protect against osteoporosis, Alzheimer's disease, and several types of cancer. Apples
Wow.
have been right. Apples have been shown to lower cholesterol, support healthy lungs, and help with weight loss.
I need to eat more
Um,
apples.
and the seeds contain cyanide.
Yes, we've talked about that.
We
Hooray,
have.
Susie.
We have talked about that. Yeah. So the apple seeds, can be spicy. Um, Now, the Appalachians have traditions with apples, and I'm not sure if you're going to talk about that in your conversation about Appalachian traditions and whatnot. But
I don't.
one of the really cool traditions in Appalachian when it comes to apples is the peel can divine your future spouse. It is said that if you peel an apple in one swipe, if you get the peel of the apple off the apple in one piece, you can throw it over your shoulder and it'll land spelling the first letter, or the first initial of the person you are destined to marry.
If I've been married for like 10 years, should I still do that just to make sure that I'm married to the right person?
I mean,
Or
I
is that
think that you
offensive?
found a good one though. I think you found a good one though. I think hubby's a good one. We like hubby.
Group husband is a good one. Yeah.
um, so some of the spiritual magical properties of apples. Apples symbolize love and have been used in divination practices to predict marriage, like I just said. Apples are associated with health and well-being. They symbolize gratitude, generosity, harvest, and abundance. And that's partly because apples, as I said, ripen at the time of harvest. So they're a reminder for us to enjoy the fruits of our labors and to be grateful for the bounty of the earth. Um, Apples have become known with self knowledge, stemming from their connection with the story of the Garden of Eden in Christian mythology. Although, as we said, the Bible doesn't necessarily say that it was an apple as the fruit of
Mhm.
knowledge, but we have now started considering the apples to be the fruit of knowledge. Apple invites us to enjoy the fruits of the earth and to be grateful. It helps us to promote self care and physical health. They allow us to explore ourselves without judgment.
Mm.
Ooh. So we've got two diced apples. We're going to add some fun stuff to. We're going to cook it down a little bit, and we're going to turn it into a free-form apple pie. I did want to kind of talk about apple pie spice for a second because one of our friends had asked us in one of my live streams, I believe, the difference between
Yes.
apple pie spice and pumpkin pie spice. So that's kind of really easy, actually. The really only difference between apple pie spice and pumpkin spice is pumpkin spice has cloves and apple pie spice does not. They both have cinnamon, they both have ginger, they both have allspice. Apple pie spice will sometimes have cardamom, not always, but pumpkin spice has all of that as well. Apples just don't use cloves. That's the only real difference between apple pie spice and pumpkin spice.
I bet your house is about to start smelling real amazing soon.
Well, we made the pumpkin bread the other day. I'm making pumpkin pie today. And then for dinner,
I
we're
just
making
want to live in a
salmon.
shoebox. Just put me in a shoebox under your bed and I'll just be there. Just throw me some crumbs.
So to my diced apples, we're going to put in about a tablespoon of apple pie spice. I have about a quarter teaspoon of molasses in here because I don't have brown sugar on hand. So we're using grandma's molasses to make some brown sugar.
Oh, pause.
That's what does.
This leads to a really good point. In case our listeners don't know, what is the difference between brown sugar and white sugar?
Brown sugar has molasses in it.
So there you go. If you want to make some homemade brown sugar, just take your white sugar and add molasses.
Yes. Um, I mean, molasses is a byproduct of the sugar refining process. So basically, you're just putting the impurities they take out of sugar back
Back in.
into the sugar. Yeah. So then I put on about a half a cup of table sugar as well. We're going to put in a pinch of salt to bring out the flavors. My salt is over here. Always add salt to things. People get really confused when you start putting salt in sweet things, but it helps your taste buds open up so that you can taste the sweet stuff.
I think that's why people put salt on watermelon.
Yes, I put salt on all melons. And then we're going to do a dash of vanilla. We make our vanilla around here. So a little dash of vanilla in there.
You know, didn't we cover how to make vanilla at some point?
We did in one of our episodes. Yes,
I think so
absolutely.
too. If you
We
want to know
did.
how to make vanilla, check back our older episodes and you'll find it. Let me ask you a question about lemons and apples.
Okay, yeah.
So when you make like an apple um charcuterie board, people
Uh-huh.
put lemon, they put lemon juice on it so that they don't turn brown.
Yeah.
Why? Why do they turn
Because
brown and why do they put lemon on it? Why lemon of all
so,
things?
okay, so it's an acid. Vinegar works too, but vinegar just doesn't taste good.
Mhm.
And lemon has a much more delightful flavor. But it helps to prohibit the chemical reaction that happens when the apple flesh comes in contact with oxygen.
Hmm.
Oxidization. The acids help prohibit that. You could use cream of tartar. You could use a myriad of different acids in order to keep that from happening. You can also tie the apple back together um, or plastic wrap it, the segments together, and that'll
Mhm.
help keep it from turning brown.
Hmm.
Um, and also acids don't last for long. You get a temporary fix
Yes,
with it.
because it will still eventually turn brown.
Yeah. So to my apple mixture, I'm also going to add a little bit of cornstarch to help thicken the juices as they cook. Because no one wants a soupy pie, right?
I guess.
You can
Yeah,
use
I guess
flour and
so.
butter.
It'd be
You can use
mushy.
flour. Yeah, you can use flour and butter in it. I just typically will use cornstarch. And I've got a pan on the stove preheating, and we're going to stir this together. And
And
yeah,
what does
so
a free form apple pie? What does free form mean? That you don't have a
I'm going
like
to
a
show you.
okay.
Yeah, so a free form is just that. Like I'm not going to use a pie pan. I'm going to take the dough and I'm going to form it around the apples, and it's going to bake together as its own. It's free formed.
How do you get it? Oh, or will you cover that? How do you get it to not fall down?
We're going to use egg wash.
Okay.
Yeah. What other questions do you have?
It has nothing to do with apples.
Okay.
I was watching some show the other day. It's a new show about engineering and baking.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's not new at all. I don't know. It was new to me. But I heard of dead dough for the first time. Have you ever heard of
Dead
dead
dough.
dough?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was pretty interesting that I've never heard of it before that moment. But apparently it's used in lots of sculpture things because once you make the
Yeah.
shape, that's what it is. And I thought that
Yeah.
was
Dead
pretty
dough.
exciting.
It's a basically a flour, water, and salt mixture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people used it to decorate buffets and things. Um, like you could make bread products out of it, and it would bake and harden, and you could glaze it like you would clay
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. So I'm gonna bring you guys over here to the pan so that you're
So
not
it
like
does it have like
staring
a
at my
biscuit
wall.
kind of taste?
No, it has a very, very salty kind of taste.
I
It
want
is
to
not
eat it.
edible.
Oh, I guess I don't want to
Yeah,
eat it.
it's not edible at all. I mean, it's not harmful to you if you eat it. But it's very salty, very, very tough, and then it hardens and becomes like clay. When I was a
So like
kid, my
break your teeth
mama,
hard.
yeah, break your teeth hard.
Mm.
My mama, and for those of us not from Appalachia, mama means grandmother. My
Oh
grandmother would teach us how to make ornaments for the tree using dead dough.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. So we're gonna toss our apples in the skillet.
I know exactly what that is now. That's exactly it. We
Yeah,
in like grade school, you make ornaments out of it. Oh my gosh.
yeah. Core memory
Oh,
unlocked for Miss Erica.
core memory unlocked. Holy smokes. Okay. All right. Now what are we doing with our apples?
um,
So we just um
we're gonna cook them down a little bit.
sauteing them. Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, and we're gonna melt the sugar and we're gonna caramelize them just a little bit and soften them up because they're only gonna bake for about 20 minutes in the oven, and basically that's just to get the pie crust cooked. But
Yep.
I want to get the apples cooked down a little bit.
So what are some fancy twists that you could add right now if you wanted to, like to make um some kind of just more exotic apple pie?
Absolutely, you could add cranberries. You could add some kind of nuts like
Ooh.
some pecans or walnuts. You
Uh-huh.
could add
Or pecans.
yeah,
Pecans
that's what I said, pecans.
for other languages.
You can also add some pear. You could add some orange liqueur like Grand Marnier or triple sec, or you could add some bourbon or some rum when you're cooking this down. You
I
could do
love
a whole lot
rum.
with it. You could put peaches in here. You could put apricots in here. You could put just about any other kind of fruit in here that you would really want. Um, And instead of putting it in a pie form, you could add a crumble on top and make like a cobbler or an apple crumble. You could
What's a crisp?
the crisp is basically an upside down pie. So
Okay.
instead of the apples being in a pie crust, the pie crust is on top of the apples, and then you scoop it out like cobbler.
Hmm. Okay. My family used to make peach crisp at like during Thanksgiving meetings.
Right.
Not meetings, get-togethers, sorry. As if it was a formal event.
Yes. So anyway, let's move on to your topic while this is all sauteing.
Okay. So I'm going to cover the actual Appalachia aspect of our episode. To start off with, from etymonline.com. So like etymology, I'm not even going to try. ETYMONLINE.com. In reference to the North American mountain range, around 1600, Mountains Appalachia, Apalатsi, was written Apalacchen by Spanish explorers and originally in reference only to the southern end of the range. But originally the name of the Appalachee, Apalachee, a Muskogean people of northwestern Florida, perhaps from Appalachia, Abalachci, means other side of the river, or Hitchite, Hittichi, anyway, Muskogean, Apalwah, and it's a C, but it's got a thing on top. I means dwelling on one side. So we've got different variations of the original basis of the name, but the general meaning of it is other side or dwelling on one side. But the spelling would shift under adjective influence. So with the IAN as an ending.
Mhm.
But now on to the actual mountains. They are often called the Appalachians. They are a mountain range in eastern to northeastern North America. And the term Appalachian refers to several different regions associated with the mountain range. This is coming from wikipedia.com also. I should throw that in. And its surrounding terrain. The Appalachian Range runs from the island of Newfoundland, which is 2,050 miles or 3,300 kilometers southwestward to central Alabama in the United States.
Mhm.
It crosses the 96 square mile archipelago. I did this perfectly the other day. Archipelago. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, y'all.
Archipelago.
Sure. We're going to, you know what part of our merchandise is going to be? Is the phrase, words are hard.
Words are hard.
That's going to be part of our merchandise line. Archipelago of St. Pierre and Miquelon, an overseas collectivity of France, meaning it is technically in 3 countries. The highest peak of the mountain range is Mount Mitchell in North Carolina at 6,684 feet or 2,037 meters, which is also the highest point in the United States east of the Mississippi River. The range is older than other major mountain ranges in North America, the Rocky Mountains of the West. Some of the outcrops on the Appalachians, excuse me, I tried to say it wrong myself. Appalachians contain rocks formed during the Precambrian era. So it's old as shit. It's older than shit. The Appalachian Mountains are barrier to east-west travel as they form a series of alternating ridgelines and valleys oriented in opposition to most highways and railroads running east-west. This barrier was extremely important in shaping the expansion of the United States in the colonial era. So now we move on to the most exciting bits and pieces of Appalachian culture. It's superstition, science, omens, and beliefs.
Ooh.
And so we have, tell me if you've heard of these. A chicken laying an uneven number of eggs is an omen of danger. Have you ever heard of that?
Heard that. I have heard that.
I don't know that I've ever heard that one. A rabbit crossing your path before sunrise will bring unhappiness.
I have not heard that.
I've not heard that, but I did run over a rabbit once when I was on the way to work when I lived out in Nevada.
Well, I think that rabbit had a terrible string of luck.
I think it brought me sadness. So yes, I ran it over. I killed it, and that did bring me sadness.
So while you're talking, I'm going to adjust my camera down so we can see what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay. So I've got the apples. I'm gonna plop them in the middle of my already rounded out pie crust. Because that's an irritation I would not put anybody through, making pie dough. Okay, I'm just gonna plop them in there like that, like that, right? All right. I've already kind of pre-moistened the crust with a little bit of egg wash.
Yep.
And what you're gonna do now, I'm just gonna fold up your edges. Okay.
It's sort of like a little burrito.
Sort of. A little wash to make it sticky, like that. Okay, you're gonna kind of go all the way around, kind of folding an edge and bringing it up, right? A little bit of egg wash to make it sticky. And there are tons of ways to make these gorgeous and beautiful, and you can cut out shapes of dough and use egg wash to glue them on. You can do a whole bunch of really pretty things with preformed pies like this. It helps if you cook your apples ahead of time and give them time to cool before you start trying to play with them. I, however, am a glutton for punishment, and I don't mind getting my hands burnt because my fingertips have no feeling anyway.
That's like my husband. My husband doesn't have feeling. That's why I make him get all the stuff out of the oven.
Yeah, that's because I've been a chef for a very long time,
He's
pulling
just
things
kind of
out of
restless
hot
with his
oven.
fingers.
Okay, so then we have it kind of dustly, right?
How cute.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush the entire outside of the pie crust with some egg wash.
Mhm.
And if you don't know what egg wash is, it's very simple, just egg and water mixed together. I used about 2 tablespoons of water per egg to make this egg wash. And what egg wash is going to do is it's going to help brown and make the dough shiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but a little trick I like to do with things like pie dough, um, especially with
Are you gonna
free-form
sprinkle
pies,
it?
and sprinkle with a little bit of sugar.
Oh my goodness.
Now, if you have turbinado sugar or sugar in the raw, which is a bigger cut of sugar, um,
Hmm.
it looks a little prettier when you do this. And I'm going to hit it with a little bit more of apple pie spice on top.
Oh, how delightful.
Okay? And then we're going to pop this in the oven at 350 degrees. I'm just going to leave it on the baking paper just because it makes my life easier
Yeah.
for about 25 minutes.
Okay.
Hey Siri, set a timer for 25 minutes.
25 minutes starting now.
Okay, as you were.
Okay. The next one is always go out the same door that you came in.
Always, always.
I don't know that I've ever heard of that, but I don't know that I would oblige it anyway.
It's bad luck to go outside both doors.
Here is one that I know I have heard. Bad fortune is soon to follow when a broom falls for no reason.
Absolutely. It also means company's coming. Broomfell company's
Yes.
coming.
That was in Practical Magic.
It is. It is.
Okay. A black cat crossing your path means bad luck. Stop and go another way. Absolutely not. Disagree 100%.
I am inclined to disagree as well. One of my favorite creatures on this planet is my black cat.
Your cat is my favorite creature on this planet also, outside of my creatures. But I love your cat too. And if you have a cat, I love your cat. It doesn't matter who you are or what your cat is. I love your cat. Okay. Carry a 4-leaf clover to ward off bad luck.
That's actually kind of a crossover from if you look into the people of Appalachia, right?
Mhm.
A lot of them are going to be European immigrants
I
that
cover that.
mixed with, right? You do cover that? Okay. So that's
Mhm.
going to be something that carried over from the Irish immigrants, the four-leaf
Right.
clover idea. Mhm.
Have you ever found a 4-leaf clover?
Several.
I don't think I have ever once found one.
Several.
They are not meant to be mine. A chin dimple is a sign of bad character. Dimples are made by the devil's shoe.
Hmm.
So these poor little babies were forming in their mama's tummies, and the devil came and what's that called? Curb stomped them.
I have one, and my beard won't even grow in it.
I don't know if
It's
I
a
do.
butt. You don't. Mine's called a butt chin.
No, no, not the butt chin. Ooh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
disgusting. Okay. Then we have cows laying down means it's going to rain. Yes, I believe that too.
Hmm. You know why they lay down though?
No, why?
Would you want to lay in the wet spot? So
I
they
mean, I
lay down while
have.
it's dry, so that it's still dry when it rains.
Oh, okay. We're not editing that out. I don't care who hears. Death comes in threes. And actually, that is a very popular superstition, even in the media.
Hmm.
Whenever an actor or an actress or a celebrity dies, that is always the thing is it comes in threes. Who's next? Don't let anyone sweep under your feet. Now, what I've heard is don't let anybody sweep your feet.
Yeah, don't let them sweep under your feet or over your feet. So it's bad luck.
Hmm. Don't wash clothes on Sunday.
Well, I've heard that, but I think that has Christian and Jewish roots to it. It's about doing work on the Sabbath. The
Hmm.
Christians recognize Sunday as the Sabbath, while Jewish people recognize Saturday as the Sabbath, and or Shabbat, or Shabbos in Hebrew, and they don't work on the Sabbath.
Right.
So they won't make music, they won't perform do normal responsibilities. A lot of times you don't even bathe on the Sabbath because it's considered working. So that probably ties into that kind of situation.
Hmm. Next, we have draw an X in the air 3 times to avoid bad luck from a black cat crossing in front of you. I'm sorry, I'm too busy catcalling the cat. I have no shame. I have no shame. If you dream of bees, it is a sign of good fortune. I've never heard that before.
I've not heard that either.
Oh, here's one. Dropping a knife means a man is coming to visit. Have you dropped
I have
knives
not
lately?
heard, not lately, not lately. No,
But dropping
I've got
your
a lot of
fork,
horror. I've got a
do
lot of
what?
horror stories about people dropping knives. They
Oh
try to
my
catch them and
God.
lose fingers.
That just made my heart skip because I know exactly where it would fall. Oh my gosh. Now, in contrast, dropping your fork means a woman is coming to visit.
Well, all right for that.
Seeing a white horse means good luck. My father, when we lived up at the top of the state, when I was way, way little bitty, like newborn baby, he was having a kidney stone episode and he was high on painkillers and walked into the kitchen of a trailer that they used to live at. And standing outside of the kitchen, it was foggy, misty night, and there was a white horse standing in the yard, like directly in front of the window, and he thought he was hallucinating a horse.
In my family, well, we're from Kentucky, and we lived in Louisville, where the Kentucky Derby runs. Right, it's one of the Triple
Yeah.
Crown races, and we in my family always bet on the white horse, the gray horse, and the black horse,
Well, that sounds like
regardless
a good
regardless of their yeah, regardless of their
stats.
rankings or their odds. We always My mamaw specifically always bet on the gray horse, always.
Was there more detail behind why she did that?
It alludes to the luck of a white horse, and we always made the joke that if it weren't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. So we met in the middle and bet on the gray.
Okay. A foot itching is a sign that you are about to embark on a long journey. Never heard that one. For good luck, eat black-eyed peas with greens and pork on New Year's Day. In my family, we would eat collard greens, black-eyed peas, and maybe there was ham, but I don't remember ham being such a big thing, but the black-eyed peas and the collard greens were.
And see, in my family, we eat black-eyed peas, boiled cabbage, ham or corned beef. It depends. Typically, it's going to be corned beef,
I love
uh,
corned beef. Oh
corn,
my God. My mouth is
corn.
watering just thinking
So,
about it.
and it was all based on money, right? So the black-eyed peas were for luck. The cabbage or collard greens is for money.
Hmm.
Corn is for gold, and the meat is for abundance.
Mm.
Mhm.
If you know newlyweds, don't gift them knives because it will cut their love. A
Uh,
girl should hold their feet up when crossing a railroad track or they will lose their boyfriend.
I have not heard that.
Neither have I. This is one that's kind of known. Hang a horseshoe upside down to keep good luck from running out.
Hmm.
Hang a mirror by the door to protect against evil.
Hmm.
And then a hard to light candle is a sign of coming rain, which makes sense if you think about it, the moisture in the air.
Moisture in the air. Hmm.
Hearing a screech owl at dusk means someone will die.
I have heard that.
I don't know that I've heard that, but that kind of goes into banshee a little bit.
A little bit.
Hold your breath passing a cemetery, or you could inhale a dead soul. That is a lot to unpack.
And that is something that was drilled in my head my entire life. I do it I'm almost 40 years old, and I still hold my breath when I pass a cemetery or a graveyard.
So, in the same notion, you could sneeze out then a dead soul.
I guess so.
If a pregnant woman sees a dead person, her baby will have a birthmark.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've heard that, but I don't.
If dough
Okay,
cracks while being shaped, a funeral will follow.
that I have never heard, but that explains a whole lot.
Oh no. If your nose is itching, company is coming. I've heard that.
Mhm.
It is bad luck to walk under a ladder.
That's a universal, I think,
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
7 years of bad luck to close a knife you didn't open. I've heard that too.
hmm hmm
It's bad luck to step on a grave. I don't know that it's luck. I just always chalk it up to being a sign of disrespect to walk on somebody.
And it's a punishment. Bad luck ensues as a punishment for being disrespectful.
Yeah. An itching ear is a sign that someone is talking about you. I've heard that.
hmm
Bad luck to spill salt unless you throw a pinch over your left shoulder.
hmm
Yeah. Keep a lucky rabbit's foot in your pocket to ease aches and pains. And for good luck,
Except for the rabbit.
yeah. Keep a penny in your washer. That's not hard to know in my husband. I've found some wild stuff in our washer. Knock on wood to continue good fortune. Yes.
hmm
Not yes. I guess yeah. Okay. Leave one apple on the tree to keep the devil away.
Yep.
Leave a rocking chair rocking. Leaving a rocking chair rocking invites spirits. Look,
Absolutely.
if that spirit just wants to sit in a rocking chair and rock, okay, who am I to stop him? Leaving diapers on the clothesline, this is a little outdated, during a full moon will attract evil forces because they like baby shit. I don't know.
Did you
Never cut your baby's hair before their first birthday.
ever?
Never give knives as a gift. That goes back to the other one. Never repay salt that you have borrowed. I don't
So
really understand.
there's a thought on that, and I'm not sure if it's what that particular like wives' tale was alluding to, but
Mhm.
salt is an absorbent, right? So
Oh, I
it's
see.
right. So and salt is used in many faiths as cleansing, as banishing, and things like that because it absorbs negative energy, right? So if you borrow salt from somebody, you don't use all of it. You don't want to give them that salt back because then it's absorbed the stuff in your house. You would then want to give them new salt,
Fresh. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Okay. The next one, not only have I heard of it, my mother actually did it with my grandmother. Open the window when someone dies and cover mirrors so their soul can leave. So
Mhm.
when my father's mother passed away, my mom told my uncle who was with her, open the doors because she was in a like a nursing home facility, a care facility, and she had these French doors that would lead out to the outside. And my mother told my uncle to make sure that he opened the French doors so that she could leave. And he did. Um, Plant your crops under the full moon. Do you know about that one?
hmm
What does
We
that
don't
do?
do it.
Oh,
Oh well, the full moon has a lot of symbolism and it deals with prosperity and growth and all that kind of fun stuff.
oh my God. Okay, coming up is going to be a real bonkers one. Pour a drop of strong drink on the ground for spirits past.
Absolutely.
Or
That's
pour one out for
you
a
know,
homie.
there's also this idea of why they're called spirits, but
Oh. Put
mhm,
a two-edged axe in a stump facing a storm to have it go around you.
that's witchcraft.
That does sound talking of witchcraft. Rub a chicken over your baby to keep it from getting chicken pox.
There you go. And
Sleeping on New Year's Day will lead to an unhappy year.
I've been doing that for 37 New Years. I should not this year. See how things
Maybe
go.
avoid that one. Speaking a dead person's name in your dream is an omen of a death. I don't know that I believe that. I think that's
I
just
don't I don't I don't agree with that.
spit on a new baby to bring it good luck.
I wish somebody would spit on a child of mine. I believe deep in my heart and soul that will exceed the limitations of my medication. Okay.
Listen, it's 2023. It's okay to not spit on somebody's baby. Stepping on an ant's nest will cause rain that day. It's going to cause some kind of sadness, some kind of leakage, because that's a
Some
real sad
kind.
way to go.
It depends on the
S-
anthill too.
Stop the clocks when there is a death to prevent another one.
You can't do that anymore.
You can't do that anymore. Um, Washing
Ramses,
clothes on.
no.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I was yelling at your Dark Lord.
Oh my goodness! Don't yell at my baby. He's causing you good luck. Washing clothes on New Year's Day will cause a death in the family.
Well, see, the way I was taught with that superstition is washing clothes on New Year's Day will lead to endless laundry needing to be done for the rest of the year.
Oh my God! I guess we've been washing laundry then every friggin' year. Oh God. Okay. Wear a buckeye in your bra to ward off rheumatism.
Hmm.
I don't know what buckeye is, but I don't know that I want it in my bra.
Buckeye is it's almost like a chestnut.
That sounds really uncomfortable for my boobies.
Hmm.
When walking together, both must walk on the same side of the post, or it will break your friendship. I've heard that.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I live by that.
Women should not do any canning or gardening during their period.
That is something I've heard.
And finally, your baby has to fall off the bed before their first birthday.
I have not
Um,
heard that.
Listen, there's a lot of things that come out about head injuries and serial killers, so don't do that. Don't hurt your baby's head.
Right.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the critters and creatures of the Appalachians that are notorious. This is from Blue Ridge Mountains Travel Guide.com. Number one is the Bell Witch. We've all heard of the Bell Witch, right? The woman who
Yes.
was scorned by the man, and yeah. So Bell Witch is number one. Number two is Bigfoot. Tales of Wild Men in the Woods. Then we go to the Brown Mountain Lights. Have you ever heard of those?
No.
Okay, so these are found in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, and it's kind of a mystery even today. But local and tourists have reported glowing orb-like lights in blue, white, orange, and red, hovering approximately 15 feet off the ground in the Brown Mountain area near Morganton, North Carolina. So legend says that there was a brutal battle between the Cherokee and the Catawba, Cat, Catawba,
Alba.
Catawba warriors on Brown Mountain, which left many dead on the battlefield. But the lights are said to be in the evenings, the Catawba women went searching for their sons, husbands, brothers, and fathers using torchlights to guide them. So the lights that you see today, when you see them, it's their spirits still searching for their loved ones. The first recorded sighting of the Brown Mountain Lights happened in 1771, and there's actually some talk that it might actually be train lights that are somehow in the distance being, I don't know, somehow being seen. Then we have number 4 is the Flatwoods Monster, who, let's see, is thought to be like an alien thing. There was a crash that these kids saw. They went and got their mother, who then got a National Guardsman to come. And they arrived at the site of the crash, and they saw a pulsing red light and a 10-foot tall creature with twisted hands and a glowing green face that seemed to levitate off the ground. When the creature hissed at them, they fled. And it was such a big event that it made news and even prompted the blah, 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 U.S. Air Force to inquire about it. And I am skipping number 5 and going to number 6, which is the Mothman. Also in the future, Paul, group husband, wants to join us and do an episode on the Mothman because he loves the Mothman. And Mothman is an interesting creature because it is a broad-winged, red-eyed thing that's got an ass that doesn't stop, according to the statue. But he apparently he is correlated to this big crash that happened that killed 46 people, but like he was the harbinger of doom. Now there you can go on TikTok, and I don't know the woman's name, and I'm sorry that I don't, but she correlates Mothman to actually being a banshee. And it is a fascinating it's a fascinating TikTok that she gives, but it's pretty much stating that Mothman is not some evil demon. He's just letting people know about impending doom.
Well, to go on that a little bit,
Mhm.
people call, especially certain religions, call things evil that aren't evil, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's one of them.
I think so too. We go on to the Wampus cat. It's also known as the Cherokee death cat. And apparently it's similar to a mountain lion or cougar with tan yellow fur, 6 legs, and large yellow eyes. There was a legend that says that a Cherokee female was cursed by tribal elders for witnessing a sacred pre-hunt ceremony, and she hid under the pelt of a large cat and got turned into the half woman, half beast we hear about. So there's that. Now we go on to number 5, which was the moon-eyed people. This is from allthatisinteresting.com and Blue Ridge Mountains travelguide.com. But in present-day Georgia and North Carolina, the Cherokee indigenous people have lore about a group of people that existed long ago. They were smaller framed, with skin that was pale, and their eyes were blue and so sensitive to light that even moonlight sent them hiding. Underground caves, small huts of logs, and wood low to the ground were their homes. In 1797, American botanist and educator Benjamin Smith Barton wrote, "The Cherokee tell us that when they first arrived in the country which they inhabit, they found it possessed by certain moon-eyed people who could not see in the daytime." In 1782, Cherokee chief, okay, I'm not even going to try this, Oconostota told Tennessee Governor John Sevier the tale of the moon-eyed people, who were white men that had long ago crossed the Great Water and landed first near the mouth of the Alabama River near Mobile, the Great Water being the Atlantic Ocean. According to Barton's writing, the moon-eyed people were considered wretches and expelled by the Cherokee during a bright full moon. They would just scatter then amongst the Appalachia area. The same chief, though, may have believed the moon-eyed people were Welsh settlers descended from Welsh Prince Madog ab Owain Gwynedd and Prince Rhirid, I think I did that well, who fled from Wales during the civil war between their brothers in 1170. Mysterious mounds in the area were contributed to Welshmen, and even some future Welsh settlers would notice similarities to their culture and the indigenous culture in the New World. From forts to language, similarities could be found, even some indigenous people bearing lighter skin and blue eyes. And then, according to a 1923 article in the Chattanooga News, Barton believed the moon-eyed people were an albino race. So not anything supernatural, just a different species of human. While now it may seem to be myth or lore, there are physical remnants today. Strange sites in the Appalachian foothills are believed to be the work of the moon-eyed people. Crumbling walls resembling European battlements can be found in Fort Mountain in Georgia. And the Moon-Eyed people were also reported to have tools and weapons like hoes, axes, guns, and other metallic utensils, lending to the belief of the people being Welsh settlers. However, the wall may be dated. Oops, scrolled too far. However, the wall may be dated as having been built between the year 400 and 500, predating the Welsh brothers. Author Barbara Alice Mann, who identifies herself as Ohio Bear Clan Seneca, suggests that a Moon-Eyed people of Cherokee tradition were Adena culture people from Ohio who merged with the Cherokees around 200 BCE. The Adena culture was a pre-Columbian Native American culture that existed from 500 BCE to 100 CE in a time known as the Early Woodland Period. The Adena culture refers to what were probably a number of related Native American societies sharing a burial complex and ceremonial system. The Adena culture was centered on the location of the modern state of Ohio, but also extended into contiguous areas of northern Kentucky, eastern Indiana, West Virginia, and parts of extreme western Pennsylvania. The Adena culture was named for the large mound on Thomas Worthington's early 19th century estate, located near Chillicothe, Ohio. Is that right? Have you ever heard of that place? Chillicothe?
Yeah, I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm from Kentucky. I just live in Ohio.
Okay, which he named Adena. The Adena were notable for their agricultural practices, pottery, artistic works, and extensive trading network, which supplied them with a variety of raw materials ranging from copper from the Great Lakes to shells from the Gulf Coast. Now, from Quora, there we go, QUORA.com. According to some accounts, the Cherokees saw the Moon-Eyed people as a threat to their land and way of life, and they made several attempts to drive them out of the region. These attempts may have included both peaceful negotiations and violent confrontations. It's important to note that the term Moon-Eyed people is not a term used by the Cherokee themselves, but rather a derogatory term used by European settlers to describe a group of people with a genetic disorder that caused them to have poor vision. A twist on this group of people comes from Robert P. Collins, author of Deep South History podcast, in which he writes, "The Moon-Eyed people didn't exist, despite what some credulous white writers claimed. Like so many other obscure myths, this one has rebounded and developed a following on the internet. For those who have never heard of the Moon-Eyed people, they were the leprechauns or hobbits of the southern Appalachian Mountains. Cherokee Indians supposedly told stories about them, although our only source for this are reports from Anglo-American authors. According to them, the Moon-Eyed people were small, pale, and weak. They were called moon-eyed because they were nocturnal, could only see clearly by moonlight, and were dazzled by the sun. Latter-day fans of this legend have reinterpreted the name Moon-Eyed to suit their own fancies, however. 19th century writers decided that these were a race of white people who had possessed the land before the Cherokees had, a convenient fiction for anyone wanting to minimize the moral stain of Indian removal from the American South. Others have embraced it as supporting evidence for a 16th century legend that the first Europeans in North America were a band of Welshmen led by Prince Madoc. If they had existed, Madoc and his men would have had to have been extremely nearsighted, if not moon-eyed. The legend asks us to believe that they managed to miss spotting land until they had sailed past either the American mainland or the Bahamas, rounded the Florida Peninsula, past Cuba, turned sharply north, and struck what is now the Alabama coast of the Gulf of Mexico. An old marker at Fort Morgan National Monument commemorated the alleged discovery of America on that spot by Madoc in 1170. A local historical society had raised the marker, and after complaints from visitors, the Park Service quietly took it down. The episode is a reminder that sometimes historical markers preserve information that wasn't credible even when the marker first went up. And being either carved in stone or cast in bronze, historical markers don't submit easily to updates or corrections. It's possible that the legend of the Moon-Eyed people is authentically Cherokee and is based on a forgotten conflict with another indigenous nation, much as other peoples have turned ancient adversaries into fairies or monsters in their folklore. But there is no way to verify this and no way to responsibly analyze the story for historical information. What seems clear is that Anglo Americans who were already in the habit of identifying themselves as white people became fixated on the paleness of the Moon Eyed people as a racial trait. Cherokee storytellers would not have thought in those anachronistic terms. I've speculated elsewhere, and there's a link to that the image of small pale creatures dazzled by the sun may have been suggested by sight of an owl caught and open during daylight. This is mere speculation, but it does suggest one way that the idea of moon-eyed people could arise without having anything to do with Europeans or their peculiar superstitions about race. And that is my part of the Appalachian podcast.
That is amazing.
So in short, what he is claiming is that white folks that had ways to publish information stated that indigenous people claimed that there was this race of people that were annihilated by the indigenous people because it hindered their life, which goes to show that, oh, we shouldn't feel so bad as white people for removing indigenous people because it hindered our life. And I think that is a little bit more understandable than the original statement that these hobbity people actually existed.
Right. I mean, that's something. That's something.
It is. But he has I believe his point. And I just think the Appalachians are just it's such a rich place of history and of information and of superstitions and a mix and mingling of religions and cultural beliefs. It
is. I mean, if you think about it, so the Underground Railroad and all that had ties to the Appalachian Trail, right? And so for a long part of Appalachian history, not only were they secluded European immigrants already there, because it's kind of hard to get to, kind of hard to get out of, right? Especially if you think back into the 1800s, right? So the European settlers that were there were very much secluded. So you have the native people that were already there, the indigenous people that were already there. And then you have the freed slaves as well. And so a lot of all of those belief systems and traditions kind of commingled together. And now you have the Appalachian folk traditions, right? So a lot of people that practice things like Appalachian folk magic, it looks a lot like hoodoo because the roots of hoodoo are there, right?
Right.
And so our job as Appalachian folk and people that utilize Appalachian folk traditions is to realize A, where we got our history, B, where we got our practices, and C, try our very, very best not to whitewash that history and try to not overstep our place within our practices and realize that there is a difference between Appalachian folk traditions and hoodoo.
Yes.
Right. And try not to defend people that are practicing hoodoo when they shouldn't be and trying to paint this picture of I'm an Appalachian folk magician, I can do this. There are differences between Appalachian folk traditions and hoodoo. There are just some similarities because of that blending. But the pie is out of the oven.
Well, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So let me know when you can see it because it's kind of out of my purview now that I'm moving my tripod. There we go. I think you can.
My goodness. Pull it back just a little bit. Oh my goodness.
And then for the coup d'etat, I'm gonna get it to work.
And what is that? Is that caramel?
Ghirardelli caramel.
Oh. Listen, you've got to move south or something, souther. Because we need to be able to share this.
Right. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it, I'm gonna cut a piece, and then we're gonna have a tasty taste.
Okay, now you said it had a crunch.
It's got a crunch. There's a little baby piece of the pie. Bring it up close to the camera. Just look at it.
Oh,
Preformed apricot. The cornstarch held all of it in together really nicely, which is why I used the cornstarch. This would be super tasty with like vanilla ice cream
mm-hmm.
or some cool whip. Oh yes, get a bit of an apple, get some of the crust and some of the caramel.
You pop that in your mouth without any regard for it burning the shit out of your tongue.
So tasty.
Oh
That
my
is so
gosh.
good.
Make sure that you check out our YouTube episode for this podcast so that you can watch him make it. And if you want to try making it too, just follow along with us.
Absolutely. Y'all have a wonderful day, and don't forget, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Thanks for joining us. We love y'all, sweet pumpkins. Stay safe, and remember
to fix your mouth.
Make sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe to get updates and our latest episodes.